Have no fear, YouTube, for I am here to save you. For I am RoboCop. I don't know the RoboCop theme. I'm sorry. I should have looked that up, maybe. Anyway, let's get started. This is once again nothing but a bunch of theoretical bullshit. And good morning. I'm tired. My brain is working slowly. I apologize for that. I want to, I don't know where exactly I'm going to go with this, but I want to attempt, and I use the word attempt for a reason, primarily because I don't know if I'm going to pull it off, but I want to attempt some kind of objective commentary, if I can, on why atheists, well, not why, but the fact that atheists, and so many of them tend to be, abrasive and defensive and rude and sort of off-putting and spiteful and rebellious and mean and bitter and nasty. And the question, though, we have this whole community going on YouTube, and there tend to be a whole lot of atheists that almost try to be perceived that way. And Jack, for those of you who don't know, Jack is Together for Peace. You were saying, in regard to your little exchange with OneLessGod, you were kind of going, why is this applauded? Why I don't understand why. And you kind of went on to say, do you see how Christians like myself might perceive, atheism as not a great thing, because of this kind of behavior? So, the question, I guess, given that that's a valid point, and the question is, why do so many atheists, because the stereotype really is, the stigma towards atheism is that, that they're bitter and angry and nasty and rebellious, and why do so many atheists tend to validate that stereotype? Because they do, OneLessGod is, dude, you're you're not having a rational conversation. You're not responding. You are being, condescending and mean-spirited. And all these atheists, go yay, we love it. He's being condescending and mean-spirited. Oh, fantastic. Fuck you, Christian. Great. And it's, it's a problem for atheism. It's a problem for atheists like me. But I want to try to get to the bottom of where that might come from. I don't know, have you ever heard of, a lot of people say now that, I've met people that are like, whites aren't racist towards blacks anymore. Now blacks are all racist towards whites. Those black people, African American, that, they always make fun of, if you just look at Chris Rock in the comedy and, they're just so, they hate white people. We don't hate them anymore. They hate us. And I'm kind of going I will corral this back to the point, but, and you're kind of yeah, well, try being oppressed for 500 fucking years and seeing how, how that makes you feel, knowing that your family was slaves, to the, the white people with whom you work and live on a daily basis. I think there's a sort of validation for that, I think that's not completely crazy, that even if a black person isn't a slave, or it doesn't have to, drink from a different fountain than a white person, that they still sort of should deserve a sort of social, should have the right to feel deserving of a sort of social justice, and how that relates to atheism is that, I think atheists tend to be, or at least seem to be, the last minority that is truly discriminated against. And when I say that, if somebody's racist, they kind of know that they're racist. Or if you hate Jews, you kind of know in this day and age, we're living in a more enlightened culture now than we were 50 years ago or 200 years ago. You kind of, if you know that you're being prejudiced if you're being prejudiced. But atheism seems to be the one minority still that people righteously, truly, like, feel justified in hating, somebody who doesn't believe in God. And they feel absolutely no guilt for that. George Bush came out, and he said on the record, he's like, atheists should not be considered patriots or even citizens. And then there was a statistical poll where atheists ranked lower than any minority. You may have heard of this, but I think like 40-something, only 40-something% of Americans would vote for a presidential candidate if they were atheistic, knowing that that presidential candidate was otherwise qualified in every way. Only 40%, and that was lower than gays, Muslims, Jews, Mormons, Scientologists. Atheists are like the bottom. And I know all growing up, when I was going through high school and stuff like that, I got my ass kicked all the time just for, if I even said I didn't believe in God, or, I grew up in a very Christian, community. But, so I know that there tends to be a sort of, and I'm not saying it's justified, but there tends to be a sort of inherent defensiveness to being an atheist. You kind of brace yourself, knowing that your views are not accepted, and your views are, and you know that you can't really most of the time have a rational discussion about it, because Jack, I gotta tell you, man, you gotta know you're in a minority of Christians, of fundamentalist Christians, who are actually willing and ready to have a rational conversation. You're in a minority of Christians who want to learn about Islam and other cultures and other beliefs, and and throw your stuff on the table and throw down in a civilized manner. That's not the norm. It's not, and I so respect you for it. But you gotta know that as an atheist, my experience of most Christians has not been like you. In fact, you surprise me so much. I mean, that should go to illustrate that I think most atheists are not. So anyway, when when a Christian throws out a question like, what's your moral code, atheist, or what do you have to offer, atheist? I think, as I said, there's an inherent sort of defensiveness. There's a red flag that goes off, and I think most atheists' minds that say, uh-oh, I'm about to be persecuted in some way. And we fight back, even when we don't have to. And I don't think most of the time we realize that we don't have to. But I just wanted to offer some sort of, if I could, like, just objectivity on the subject, because it's true, it's true that there are a lot of atheists. I think Rational Response Squad, I think they do a lot of that. I think they do a lot of what they do just for shock value. I don't think necessarily all the time that the Rational Response Squad is completely rational. And I think that comes from a sort of, you think I'm evil for being an atheist? You think you think I'm rebellious and mean? Well, here, I'll show you rebellious and mean. And I think that might be where Blasphemy Challenge comes from a little bit. But anyway, that's I should just wrap this up because I don't really have anything more to say. But I think that might be a part of where that sort of atheist stigma and mentality comes from. And I just want to say, on behalf of my godless brethren, we're working on it, and hopefully we'll get better.